Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So if you're new here, subscribe, hit the like, drop a comment, do those few things. You're really going to help us out. You're going to help us grow. You're going to help us create more content for you guys. And more importantly, you're going to help yourself stay up to date, especially hitting that notifications bell. So let's just dive straight into this one. XRP, what is going on? So honestly, there's a lot going on. There's so much going on behind the scenes. It's actually hard to keep up to date with everything that is transpiring, more or less. But this thing's coming to a close, just like pieces of ice breaking off the Arctic shelf, right? This big piece is going to break off. And when it breaks off, the wave it's going to create is going to be huge. It is going to be monumental. I keep hearing the whole expression of it's going to melt your eyes out. This thing's going to melt your brains out. It's going to be a situation where it's going to be hard to believe it actually happened until you see it happens. Now, you either believe in the idea of what this thing's going to be or you don't. There's really not an in-between with this. And even the XRP community themselves, those strongholders that have been holding on for a long time, know the ride that they've signed up for. They know how long this thing has been drawn out for, but ultimately it is coming to a close. So there are some important dates. We'll be going over those. We'll go over a couple of articles and then we'll take a look at the price. We'll take a look at this big base that's being formed. We'll look at the previous base that's being formed on the day chart and we'll kind of match those out. We'll look at the indicators. We'll look at all of the different things. So let's get into this news article. So as the cryptocurrency community awaits the final decision in the courtroom standoff between the blockchain company Ripple and the United States Security Exchange Commission, the SEC, the agency has submitted its opening brief regarding institutional XRP sales. Indeed, in line with the previous published schedule, the SEC submitted under its seal its opening remedies related to brief and supporting documents on March 22nd. According to the defense attorney, a former federal prosecutor, these documents are not public yet, and the regulator will file the public redacted versions by March 26th. These are going to be really important for us. We'll be going over them on the channel. So do make sure you keep up to date with everything that we're doing here. So after which Ripple has to submit its opposition brief by April 22nd, and the SEC's reply is due May 6th. So the SEC Ripple lawsuit progress in itself, like I was saying, it's reaching that end point. It's reaching the point where you can start to say to yourselves, we're really in the end of this. We're really in that point of where it's beginning to crack. You're beginning to see that big crack form. And now we're just waiting for the plunge. We're waiting for all of the bureaucracy, the paperwork, and the pencil pushers to do what they do best, and is get this thing closed. So let's move over to the actual document they're talking about. I think that's way more important than going over a news article. But what I wanted to do was give you a a perspective of what's going on externally. Now, internally inside the XRP bubble, I think you guys need to understand, you probably do understand this quite well by now, is that the way you're portrayed by the external media is the way you're portrayed to the rest of the world moving forward. So, dear Judge Torres, on behalf of the Plaintiff Securities and Exchange Commission and Defendant Ripple Labs, and collectively the parties, we respectively seek the court's approval of the following joint proposal to govern sealing issues relating to the upcoming remedies related briefing to be filed. In this case, the proposal will ensure prompt public access to the parties' briefs, as to which any proposed redactions are anticipated to be minimal. Which is consistent with the strong presumption of public access. So these important dates I've been mentioning are March 22nd, March 25th, and March 26th, and then that reply around May 6th. Now, the halving, okay, is around 25 days. If you start to think more ahead of time, you start to think about where this is possibly all going to land when it finishes, well, it lands around midpoint of the halving. It lands at that perfect time. And for me, this couldn't be more strategic, in my opinion. We know that Ripple themselves could have had this case closed, I think, a couple, maybe 3-4 months ago, but they actually dragged it out a little bit longer. I know there's bits in between. I know I'm butchering things and really summarizing it down here, but I think this is part of the strategy. I really do. Because in Japan, right, there's an underlying joke, and trust me, I know this. I just traveled to and from there. But in essence, it's outlined as not a security over there, and they have a very high standing of XRP. I was just asking people I know, people in stores, and they were like, yeah, you know, we all believe in it out here. It's a very interesting situation, to say the least. If you're ever traveling to Japan, if you haven't traveled to Japan and you're going to be traveling there recently, just ask a few people about it. It is the Ethereum, it's the BTC for them, of their country, and for them, they're loving XRP. So let's bring up this next news article, which is quite important because they're talking about this rare bullish cross on the RSI. I think it's on the RSI. So it's not as common as the golden cross of the 250 EMAs, but is a strong sign that XRP might be picking up steam. And we can definitely see this on the overall chart. We can see there's a huge base, we're bouncing on a trend line, and we're keeping that movement going. So overall, there has been a situation where it's been higher highs and higher lows, and it's just been moving strategically in the background, and it's an underdog. It's a huge underdog. Huge underdog. It's probably the biggest underdog in crypto from my point of view, from my perspective and my time being in crypto. It's definitely one of the biggest underdogs. And like I keep saying, it's definitely going to melt eyes. So seeing this rare bullish cross is definitely a good sign. Seeing that the external media are reporting on this is an even better sign. So let's bring up the price chart for XRP. We're going to be looking at the day view. I've got my trading indicator up, links to that in the description if you're wondering what this is. As you can see here, right, if you're trading blue chips, this is something that I learned when I was studying a leverage trader very recently, is blue chip assets for leverage traders are great. If they're using an indicator, they mix in the RSI indicator, because you put yourself in a position where it's a very predictable, it's not a meme coin, it's not running up and down like crazy. The indicator can give you very, very good gains. So you can grab an entry here and you can take one of these 5 entries here, exits. So you can take another one of these 5 exits. You know, you've got so many options when it comes to blue chips and making money. You can make money when it's going up, and you can make money when it's going down. You just need a non-emotional trading partner, in my opinion, who's not going to get emotionally tied into things. So like I was saying, right, we have seen previously, getting on a side tandem there, but we've seen previously a huge base. And like I said, we're looking at the day, we're looking at this day overview. And for some time since that huge peak out back here, right, we're seeing a decent base forming. And all along this base, we're seeing good DCA in markers each time coming up, getting those out markers. Now, if you're trading short term, you're just doing it in and out, you're dipping in and out, you're just simply here to make gains. These are really good opportunities for you. But if you are in this for the long run, like me, you have a very good position held on your ledger, this is a good sign, because the going saying here is the wider the base, the higher the space. And it's really that simple. You've seen it here, a very decent base, and then you've seen a very high space. So what do we think is going to happen, right, when this court case is over, once XRP can resume the path that it was on? Not that it hasn't continued pursuing that, not that it hasn't continued evolving. The fact is, it gets put into a situation where it doesn't have this overburdening shadow of Gary Gensler with his really creepy face just there at every turn to hold XRP and put it down. And I think it starts in Japan, like I've been saying. I think what is really going to set this all aside is definitely the court case ending and it being officially done and dusted, meaning no more going back to court, no nothings, no paperwork. It all finished completely. I think at that point, I think about that halfway point through the halving event cycle, I think you're going to see XRP make a huge move. I think the first goal, and I think this is coming relatively soon, is the $1 mark. I think it's eyeballing it at the moment with that bullish cross we've seen. The RSI is telling us good things. The MACD is telling us good things. And the overall view on the day view is telling us good things. Been bouncing on this trend line for almost what? If we measure the start of the trend line bounce to where we are now, you're looking at 709 days. So sorry, 723-ish days, right, of just bouncing along this trend line, okay? Bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. So if you did grab a bag at the beginning, if you've been holding until now, or you held until the point of like moving up, you're getting really good gains. I mean, at this point now, you're looking at 262%. And I know I got a load of coins back here in this area. This was a huge accumulation zone back here for me. So it's definitely something I'm not sneezing at. I'm not kind of getting myself too overly worked up with it and thinking to myself, this is my moon ticket, this is my lottery ticket, and this thing's going to get me to where I need me to be in the next year or 2 years. For me, this is a very long time hold. This is a 10-year hold. If I've thought about things right and we take the historical account of how the .com era worked out, coins like XRP are going to be the biggest standards that remain in the end of all of this. But let me know what you think about all of this, guys. Like I said, if you're new here, drop a subscription, drop a comment, drop a like. It's going to help us out. Hit the notifications bell. It's going to help you stay informed. And other than that, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.